a child, coming here, I somehow confused Alan Haskell with Ronald McDonald. And that sounds really neat and nice, but I don't know how true it is. The more I like reflect on that, I don't know what I find. This is kind of falls into what drives me as an artist. Like, not so much these facts, which for decades or whatever I just said, I was like the one who was like, no, actually, this is the oldest house in New Bedford or whatever. But now I'm getting way more into like the stuff we've gotten wrong, like as a culture, as a community, and even in how memory affects, personal memory affects maybe how you would tell history. And so this was a way for me to express that in my medium, because I already had that McDonald's doll. I knew I had the Ronald McDonald doll in there on a kite I found at an estate sale.
Good friends.
Lived down Sconneck Neck in my neighborhood where I grew up. There was a house that I was like, that's Ronald McDonald's house, and it's red and white and looks like my toy barn. So that was an easy jump. I forget what the third one was. Do you remember?
We all know it.
And we all know it because you all nodded when I said that McDonald's or the Fisher Price barn. But that also gives me, when you look at those barns, there are like toy theater. They become a toy theater spot where I can make, these kind of play with them and bring some toys in. And one that is here, I have the Hamburglar figure, and he's dressed in an Iron Man uniform costume because it's the closest. It's red and yellow. It's the closest I had to another Ronald McDonald costume. And there was this kind of demon that came with these really knockoff toys that you get at Mars Bargain Land. Like really, the toys you'd get at Mars Bargain Land weren't like the real version of the toy. So, and he's on his chest. So it's the death scene of Ronald McDonald by sleep paralysis, which I had as a child and many of us have experienced. Which, if you experience it as a child, it's mind-bending.
So good friends.
It's really hard to
Oh, I was fired up.
That was why he pushed back. Haskell also is a super. I have, I felt like a little too obvious to include like a rainbow umbrella in the corner, but I had this alchemical moment where this couple was taking pictures, and it like seemed like the right move to do. Alan is definitely known as like he was openly gay in. Jean and him started dating in 1976. A lot of bicentennial reference here, and he lived openly gay in New Bedford at that time, which is to be talked about and celebrated. I think he's to be respected, certainly.
I think in these kind of conversations, the best way is like for me.
I definitely would have done that.
The space is amazing because it's like,
Or like by
because it's also like when you look like that.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know what are those. Can I know?
Stand here and be the railing for people. It's so cool to see it in a different light.
It's like a box full of autographs. And I had like some of these yellow things up here, but then because I had so long the install, I could do like goofy things. Like I could do this kind of work.
Wrap it, yeah.
And then this is like a plastic sink, so it's like a joke to me of like that's where
I was
this
just gonna
water
say, it looks
comes
like
from.
a refrigerator right there.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like this. Mirrors that I knew I could use again. And that's funny. This red shelf is a, if any of you know, the Christian Hosoi hammerhead skateboard. Very sought after 80s kids skateboard. This is like a homemade one. My dad's skateboard collection was all homemade skateboards. And that's one of them that I got from there. So I have a lot of this kind of stuff. But then once I like key in to what the piece is gonna be about, I didn't own any garden tools or whatever, so I just started buying garden tools and buying red things. Like you'll see these dustbins that are all dust pans.
We'll propose that to Kristen. Can we just
I
say
mean,
that?
if you left it, what would they do?
What would it do?
I said, what would they do?
What would they do? Yeah.
Is kind of like a.
Yeah. Like the ortho products, always like, and they're always out of state sales because you can't get rid of them. So they're more than happy for me to have to try to get rid of them. So I've been collecting them for a long time, and also knowing I was never going to be able to use them in a piece. But then, lo and behold, there was a piece I could use them in, and that was one of the moments where I did ask permission.
Which is, I mean, it's amazing, right? I mean, just in the depth of what's going on, and the color selections over there.
We had to have the silver line to connect to the wall, so I had to ask Rachel's parents still have a landline, so they gave me a landline thing, but I put it in on like the last day, but it goes up through the funnel, like through the nest, and then comes, and I found these on the way here, on the side of the road, So, but then it connects to here, like they're like a game of
Yeah,
telephone,
yeah.
like
It's
cans.
cool.
You know?
Yes.
So I don't get to be that silly like on day one. We do not use pesticides. That's like our mission, and that kind of negates that, might possibly. And then I referenced that New Bedford magazine article where Alan's like walking through with the reporter. He's like, throw some 7 on that. So like, you're like, so there is record of him using it on the grounds. So clearly they don't use it anymore, and these are all old bottles. But I wanted to reference that. I really just want to use my pesticide collection in a piece, and I didn't want to not use it.
How do we figure in like some space over here, and then he's adding the other colors,
Right.
the color theme of, and
Which is, I mean, it's amazing, right? I mean, just in the depth of what's going on, the color selections over there.
so it's amazing. It's really hard to
Oh, I was fired up.
I don't think I showed it.
That's me.